My name is Zoe, and this is the story of how I learned that in my family, independence wasn't something to celebrate, it was something to exploit. I'm 27 years old. I work as a project coordinator at a mid-sized construction firm in Atlanta. I've been at this company for 4 years, working my way up from administrative assistant. I make $52,000 a year now. To some people, that's not a lot. To me, it's everything I built from nothing. My dad, Roger, is 55. He's charming in public. The kind of man who remembers people's names, cracks jokes at the grocery store, leaves big tips at restaurants. When he has the money. When he doesn't, he finds someone else to leave the tip. Growing up, I watched him do this dance my whole life. Big gestures when money was good, disappearing acts when it wasn't. And when money got tight, which happened constantly, the stress would roll downhill. Toward my mom, toward me, toward my younger brother Kyle. My mom, Linda, learned to smooth things over. That was her full-time job. Whenever my dad got angry about money, she'd catch me in the kitchen later and whisper, "He's just stressed, Zoe. You know how he gets." I did know how he got. That was the problem. He got mean, he got unreliable, he got grabby. I started working at 16, a hostessing job at a chain restaurant on weekends. Not because my parents forced me to, but because I saw what happened when there was no money in our house, and I never wanted to feel that helpless again. By college, I was working 2 jobs to cover what my partial scholarship didn't. My parents helped when they could, which wasn't often. My dad occasionally sent $100 with a text like, "Hang in there, kiddo," as if that covered textbooks. I didn't resent him for not having more money. I resented him for not trying harder. I resented the cable subscription that stayed while my student loans grew. I resented the new truck he bought when I graduated college, when I'd asked him for $500 to move into my first apartment, and he said he didn't have it. But I built my bridge anyway, loan by loan, paycheck by paycheck, and then I made the mistake of letting him see I'd built something solid. The small asks started when I got my promotion 2 years ago. I called home to share the good news. My mom cried. My dad said, "See? I knew you'd make something of yourself." 2 weeks later, "Hey Zoe, can you help with the electric bill? Just $80 until Friday." I sent it. A month later, gas money, just $50. I sent it, then $120 for Kyle's school supplies, then $200 for a car repair, then $150 until next week. Next week never came. The money never came back. I told myself it was fine. I told myself I could afford to help. I told myself they'd raised me, and this was how family worked. I didn't notice that I was the only one sending money, that the flow was always in one direction, until the day my dad called about the $3,500. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I was at work, about to go into a meeting, when my phone rang. Dad's number. I almost let it go to voicemail, but something in my gut said pick up. "Zoe." His voice was tight, controlled panic. "I need to talk to you." "What's going on?" "There's a debt. It needs to be paid immediately or there are going to be consequences." "What kind of consequences?" "Just trust me. It needs to be handled today." "What's the debt for?" He paused, then defensive. "It doesn't matter what it's for. What matters is it needs to be paid." "Dad, I need to know what I'm paying for." "It's handled, okay? It's under control, but only if you can help." I felt that familiar stomach drop. The feeling I'd been trained to feel since childhood, that if I didn't fix this, something terrible would happen. "How much?" $3,500. The number hit me like a wall. "Dad, that's..." I know. I'm sorry to ask, but there's nobody else. You're the only one in this family who has it together." There it was, the compliment and the trap in the same sentence. You're the only one who has it together, which means you're the only one we can drain. I had $4,200 in my savings account, money I'd been building for 18 months. Money I was counting on for a deposit on a new apartment because I'd been living in a cramped studio with a broken heater for 2 years, waiting until I had enough. I hesitated. Long enough that he said, "Zoe, I'm your father." And I caved. I went to my bank's website that evening and wired $3,500 to my parents' account. 18 months of saving. Gone in 3 minutes. That night, I sat on the edge of my bed in my drafty studio and cried. Not because of the money exactly, because of the feeling. The feeling of being hollowed out. The feeling of giving something you couldn't afford to give because you'd been trained from childhood to confuse sacrifice with love. I told myself he'd pay me back. I told myself family helps family. I told myself it was temporary. I was wrong about all three. My dad called the next morning. He sounded lighter, relieved. "It went through," he said. "Thank you, Zoey. I knew I could count on you." I knew I could count on you. I'd heard that my whole life, said in that tone that made it sound like a compliment but felt like a collar. "Of course," I said, because what else was I going to say? "When do you think you can start paying me back?" There was a pause, then a short laugh. Not a warm laugh, a laugh that said, "Are you serious right now? Zoey, why are you treating this like a loan?" I felt my stomach tighten. "Because I gave you $3,500. That is a loan." It was for the family. "Dad, that was my savings. I had plans for that money." "And who do you think paid for your childhood? Who bought your school supplies, your clothes, your food for 18 years? I closed my eyes. He was doing the math. The math that said his investment in my childhood entitled him to returns forever. "I appreciate that you raised me," I said carefully. "But I'm an adult now. I worked for that money." "And you live in a family. We don't keep score." "We don't keep score," he said after I'd handed over $3,500 at his request. My mom got on the phone. "Zoey, he's just embarrassed. You know he doesn't like feeling like he owes people. Just give it time." Give it time, her answer for everything. I gave it time. 10 days later was my payday, the bi-weekly direct deposit that represented 40 hours of work, deadlines, client calls, and carefully managed stress. I checked my account on my phone in the parking lot after work. $2,247 after taxes and health insurance. I felt a small wave of relief. Okay, I could start rebuilding. I could start recovering. I was still sitting in my car when my dad's text came through. "Dad, need $400 for groceries. Send when you can." I stared at the screen. I thought about my savings account. I thought about the apartment I'd been planning to move into. I thought about the $3,500 I'd sent 10 days ago that was apparently not a loan. I typed back, "I can't right now. I'm trying to rebuild what I sent you." His response came in 30 seconds. "Dad, that money wasn't yours to keep anyway." I read it 3 times. Wasn't mine to keep. I called him immediately. He answered on the 3rd ring. "What?" "Not hello. What? What do you mean that money wasn't mine to keep?" "I mean what I said. You're part of this family. Your income is family income." "That is not how employment works, Dad." "Maybe not in a business, but in a family, we share." "We share? When have you ever shared with me? Every dollar that's gone between us has gone from me to you." "I raised you. That costs money." "That was your obligation as my parent. That's not a debt I owe you for the rest of my life." "You've gotten real selfish since you started making decent money." Selfish. The word designed to shut me up. The word that had worked my entire childhood. I'm not being selfish. I'm not sending $400 that I need for my own rent. Also, then you're not being a good daughter. A good daughter isn't a bank account, Dad. He hung up. I sat in my car for a full 10 minutes, staring out the windshield at the parking lot. He had actually said it, out loud, without shame. Your paycheck is family money, not a request, a rule, a declaration of ownership over my labor. I was 27 years old. I had a full-time job. I paid my own bills, my own rent, my own groceries, my own everything. And my father had decided that his needs had claim over my earnings. That night, I opened a spreadsheet and started writing down every dollar I could remember sending my parents over the past 3 years. When I finished, I sat back in my chair, feeling cold. The total was $6,840. That wasn't counting the $3,500. That was $10,340 over 3 years, flowing from me to them with nothing, not $1 flowing back. The next week was quiet, too quiet. My dad didn't text. My mom didn't call. Even my brother Kyle went silent. I knew what that meant. I'd learned it growing up. The silence before the storm. The calm that meant they were strategizing. Sure enough, the following Sunday, my aunt, my dad's sister Donna, called me out of nowhere. "Zoey, I haven't heard from you in forever. How are things?" Aunt Donna called me maybe twice a year, usually on my birthday. It was February. My birthday is in October. "Hi, Aunt Donna. I'm good." Good, good. Listen, I heard from your dad that you two had some kind of falling out. He seemed pretty upset. And there it was. He'd called in reinforcements. "We had a disagreement," I said carefully. "He said you've been refusing to help the family, that you're keeping money to yourself?" Keeping money to myself, as if I were hoarding community funds. I paid off a $3,500 debt for him 10 days ago. He called it family money and now thinks my paycheck belongs to him. Silence on the other end. "Well, he does have a lot of expenses, Zoey. The house, your brother's school." "Aunt Donna, I'm not responsible for their household expenses. I'm not on the lease. I'm not a dependent. I'm a separate adult with my own bills. Family helps family. I've been helping for years. I just sent him $3,500. At some point, help becomes exploitation." Another silence. Then, stiffly, "I think you're being a little dramatic." Dramatic? Where had I heard that before? "I'm not being dramatic. I'm being clear. Your father is a proud man. He doesn't like—" "Aunt Donna, I appreciate you calling, but this is between me and my parents. Have a good Sunday." I hung up. 30 minutes later, my cousin Marcus texted, "Hey, your dad seems really down. Everything okay with you two?" Marcus, who I'd last spoken to at Thanksgiving, now suddenly checking in. The family network was activated. That Monday, I got a Facebook notification. My dad had posted a vague status. Some people forget where they came from when they start doing well. Sad to see, but God knows the truth. 14 likes, including Aunt Donna, 3 cousins, and 2 of my parents' church friends. I stared at the post for a long time. He was doing it publicly now, taking the narrative to an audience. I screenshot it, saved it, said nothing. My mom texted me that evening, "Your father is really hurting. Can you please just call him?" I replied, "When he's ready to acknowledge that my money is mine, I'll talk to him. Until then, I don't have anything to say." She read it and didn't respond. The following week, I was at work when my phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. I answered during my lunch break. "Is this Zoey?" "Yes." "This is Pastor Williams from Cornerstone Baptist. I know your family from church. Your father asked me to reach out." My jaw dropped. He had called their pastor on me. "Pastor Williams," I said slowly, "I respect you and the church, but whatever my dad told you is one side of a very complicated situation. He's very worried about the rift in your family. He claims my paycheck is family money and that I'm obligated to give him money whenever he asks. I paid his $3,500 debt 10 days ago. That's the situation." A pause. "Well, I'm sure there's a way to work this out that honors everyone." "I'm happy to honor everyone, but I'm not going to honor the idea that I owe my father my salary. I'm sorry he brought you into this." I ended the call. The audacity of it shook me. He'd called his pastor. He was mobilizing every possible resource, family, friends, church, to pressure me back into compliance, because that's what this was. Not a family dispute, a pressure campaign. and I was the target. That evening, I did something I'd been avoiding. I opened my bank statements, all of them, going back 3 years. I went through every single transaction, highlighting every payment I'd made to my parents or on their behalf. The full list took me 2 hours to compile. Transfers to parents' accounts, $8,240. Paid their electric bill directly, $1,100. Paid their internet bill directly, $480. Kyle's school supplies and fees, $420. Dad's car repair, $850. Mom's prescriptions when they didn't have it, $380. Miscellaneous cash and Venmo, $870. The $3,500 debt payment, $3,500. Total, $15,840 over 3 years, $15,840. I sat there staring at the number. Over 3 years, I had given my parents more than $5,000 per year. Every year, without them ever asking once if I was okay. Without them ever asking if I had enough. Without one single dollar coming back to me. And when I said no to $400 for groceries after sending $3,500 10 days prior, I was selfish. I printed the spreadsheet. I saved every bank statement as a PDF. I organized everything in a folder on my desktop labeled Receipts. Then I wrote myself a note and pinned it to my bulletin board. You are not an ATM. You are a person. Your money is yours. The next morning, I called my bank and did 3 things. First, I changed my direct deposit to a new bank account they didn't know about, a credit union I'd researched the night before. Second, I set up a new savings account at the same credit union with automatic transfers of $300 per paycheck. Third, I called Venmo and PayPal and removed my parents from my contacts list. The money pipeline was closing. My heart was racing as I did it. Not because I was unsure, because I knew there would be consequences. And I was right. 2 days later, payday came and went. My dad texted, "Send the usual." The usual. As if we had a standing arrangement. As if there was a schedule I'd agreed to. Me. I won't be sending money anymore. 3 minutes of silence. Then his phone was calling me. I let it ring. He called again. I let it ring again. He texted, "Pick up the phone, Zoey." I texted back, "I have nothing to say over the phone. If you want to have a conversation, we can do it in writing. Dad, I'm your father. You don't get to dictate terms to me. Me, I'm an adult. My money is mine. Those are terms I'm not negotiating. Dad, you're going to regret this." I screenshotted the entire exchange and added it to my receipts folder. My parents didn't give up easily. Over the next 2 weeks, I was hit from every angle. Week 1, day 1. My mom called, crying, "Your father hasn't slept in 2 days. He's sick with worry. Why are you doing this to him?" Me. I'm not doing anything to him. I'm keeping my own paycheck. Week 1, day 3. My brother Kyle texted, "Bro, we called each other that as a joke since we were kids. What happened? Dad's been a mess. Can you just send something?" I called Kyle. He was 22, still living at home, and I knew he was being used as a messenger. "Kyle, listen. This isn't about one fight. I've given them over $15,000 in 3 years. I have records. When I said no to $400, Dad said my paycheck was family money. That's when I stopped." Silence. "Did you know he was asking me for money this much?" "I knew he asked you sometimes." "This much?" Another silence. "No, I didn't know." "He told you I'm being selfish. Did he tell you why?" "He said you've gotten too big for your boots since your promotion." Too big for your boots, keeping my own paycheck. Kyle, I love you, but I'm not the bad guy here, and please don't let him use you to get to me. Week 1, day 5. Aunt Donna sent a Facebook message. Family is everything, Zoey. Pride is a sin. I hope you find your way back to the values you were raised with. I didn't respond. Week 2, day 2. My dad posted another vague Facebook status. Dark experts talk from your experts 10% tickable engines and gave everything I had. Now I'm forgotten, but it's okay. The Lord sees. He hadn't raised 4 kids. He'd raised 2, me and Kyle. The exaggeration was for sympathy. 22 likes this time. I called my best friend Simone. He's doing a full pity campaign, I told her. Classic, she said. The moment the cash stops, the performance starts. Am I wrong, though? Should I be sending money? They do have bills. Zoey, stop. You gave them $15,000 in 3 years, and you didn't even know that until you looked it up. $15,000. What have they given you? I thought about it. My mom brought soup when I had COVID. 1 pot of soup? Yeah. Against $15,000. I laughed despite myself. When you put it like that, you're not wrong. You're just trained to feel wrong. That hit me somewhere deep. Trained to feel wrong. Week 2, day 6. A voicemail from an uncle I barely knew. Zoey, your aunt told me about the situation with your father. I hope you know that abandoning family has consequences. Think about what kind of person you're becoming. I saved that voicemail in my receipts folder, too. Week 2, day 8. My mom sent a text that was 4 paragraphs long. The essence of it. Your father is in poor health. He's not sleeping. This stress could make things worse. How could you live with yourself if something happened to him? We sacrificed everything for you. This is how you repay us. I read it twice. Then I replied, Mom, I love you. But this message is designed to make me feel responsible for Dad's health, so I'll send money again. I'm not going to do that. If he's in poor health, he should see a doctor. If you're struggling financially, there are assistance programs I can help you research. But I'm not going to be the family ATM anymore. That's not what a daughter is. She didn't respond for 3 days. A month after I cut off the money, my dad showed up at my apartment. I didn't buzz him in. I looked at the camera at the front door intercom and saw him standing there in his good jacket, the one he wore when he wanted to make an impression. And I felt every childhood memory of wanting to please him collide with every spreadsheet line I'd added to my receipts folder. I pressed the intercom. Hi, Dad. Let me up, Zoey. We need to talk. We can talk down here. I'll come down. I could hear his exhale even through the intercom. He didn't like that. He'd wanted to come into my space, sit at my table, make this feel like his territory. I put on my shoes and went downstairs. We stood in the small lobby. He looked tired, older than I remembered. For a moment, I felt the old guilt rise up. Then I remembered. $15,840. You're really going to make me stand in a lobby, he said? We can also go to that coffee shop on the corner. Fine. We walked to the coffee shop in silence, found a corner table. A server brought us menus. I ordered a coffee. He ordered nothing. This has gone on long enough, he started. I agree. He blinked. He'd expected more pushback. Good. So I'll explain where I stand, and you can tell me where you stand, I interrupted, and then we can figure out if there's a path forward. He leaned back. Go ahead. I've given you and Mom over $15,000 in the last 3 years, not $1,500. $15,000. I have bank records. I have every Venmo transaction, every wire transfer, every direct payment to your utility companies. He opened his mouth. I'm not finished, I said. He closed it. When I paid your $3,500 debt, which I still don't know what it was for, you didn't say thank you like it was a gift. You said good like it was expected. When I asked for repayment, you said it was family money. And when I got my next paycheck and couldn't send more, you said my salary belonged to the family. The coffee shop was quiet around us. A couple at the next table was pretending not to listen. I'm not angry that you needed help, I continued. I'm angry that you turned help into ownership. I'm angry that you called your pastor to pressure me. I'm angry that you made Facebook posts about ungrateful children. I'm angry that you recruited Aunt Donna and random uncles to call me selfish. I'm angry that you used Kyle. His face had gone through several emotions: defensive, ashamed, angry, back to defensive. "I worked my whole life for this family," he started. "I know you did. And I'm not saying you were a bad father. I'm saying that you've treated my adulthood like it's yours to access, and I'm done with that." "So what? You're just cutting off your family?" "I'm cutting off the financial pipeline. I'm not cutting off my family. Those are different things." "It feels the same." "Only because you mixed them up. You treated my money as family loyalty. When I stopped sending money, you acted like I stopped loving you. But love isn't a bank transfer." He was quiet for a long moment. Then, very quietly, "We're struggling, Zoey." My heart cracked a little because I believed him. They probably were struggling. "I know," I said, "and I'm sorry for that. But the solution to your financial struggles can't be me indefinitely. That's not a plan. That's just transferring the problem." "So what are we supposed to do?" "I can help you make a budget. I can help you find assistance programs. I can help you look at your expenses and figure out where money is going. I can help you make a plan. But I can't keep being the plan." He stared at the table. I watched his jaw work. "Your grandfather would be ashamed of you," he finally said. I felt the words land. I let them. Then I said, "My grandfather built his own life from nothing and taught me to do the same. I think he'd actually be proud." My dad stood up. "I need some time to think." "Okay." He walked out without looking back. I sat alone at the corner table, hands wrapped around my coffee cup, and let myself feel everything: the sadness, the anger, the strange, fragile relief. I'd said everything. Every truth I'd been carrying for years, I'd laid on that table. Now it was his turn to decide what to do with it. My dad went silent for 6 weeks. No texts, no calls, no Facebook posts about ungrateful children. My mom checked in occasionally, carefully, like she was testing whether a bridge was safe. "Mom, how are you doing?" "Me? Good. Work is busy. How are you?" "Mom, we're managing. Your father is adjusting." "Me, I hope he's okay." "Mom, he misses you." "Oh, he knows how to reach me." The family pressure campaign slowly died down. Aunt Donna stopped messaging. My cousin Marcus went back to his own life. Even the pastor stopped calling. Without me breaking, without the money resuming, there was nothing to keep the campaign going. During those 6 weeks, I rebuilt. I threw myself into the project I'd been neglecting, my own financial health. My new credit union account grew steadily. $300 from every paycheck, automatic, non-negotiable. I didn't touch it. I watched the number climb the way I used to watch my old savings account before the $3,500 disappeared. I started working with a financial advisor, a woman named Dana who charged $150 for an initial consultation and immediately told me I'd been making a critical error. "You've been giving money to your parents informally, with no agreements, no timelines, no documentation. That money is gone. It's never coming back." "I know." "Do you have any savings left?" "About $1,200. "And you make $52,000 a year?" "Yes." "So you've been giving away roughly 30% of your income to your parents." Hearing it said that way, as a percentage, made me feel genuinely sick. "That's going to stop," I said. "Good. Now let's build you a financial plan that makes you impossible to drain." Dana helped me set up 3 separate accounts: an emergency fund, target, 3 months' expenses, a short-term savings account for the apartment deposit I still wanted, and a retirement account I hadn't even started. At your age, starting retirement savings now versus in 5 years is a $50,000 difference at retirement, minimum, she said. My parents had cost me more than retirement security. They'd cost me future security. That realization settled in my chest like a stone. Not as anger. I was past anger. As clarity. 8 weeks after the coffee shop conversation, my brother Kyle called me. Hey, he said, can we talk? Just us?
Of course.
I've been thinking about what you said, about the $15,000. Yeah? I had no idea. I want you to know that. He never told me he was asking you for money. I thought it was like occasional help, not a system. It was a system, I said gently. I didn't even realize it until I added it up. Are you okay? Like financially? I felt something warm in my chest. My little brother asking if I was okay. I'm getting there. I'm rebuilding. I'm sorry I called you selfish. He told me you were refusing to help when they were struggling, and I believed him. You believed your dad. That's not wrong. I should have asked you first. Yeah, but now you know. What do I do? He asked quietly. I still live here. I see them every day. That's hard. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I am going to say, you're 22. You're going to be employed soon. Protect yourself before it becomes a pattern. He was quiet for a moment. Has he always been like this? I think it got worse as I started making more money, but the attitude was always there. I didn't see it. You weren't supposed to. He was the parent. We were the kids. We weren't supposed to see it. After we hung up, I cried a little, not sad crying. The kind of crying that happens when something long broken finally gets acknowledged. Kyle had seen it. That mattered. 3 months after the coffee shop conversation, my dad called me. I almost didn't answer. But my gut said, this is different. I picked up. Hi, Dad. He sounded different, quieter, like something had deflated. Hi, Zoey. Silence, not angry silence, just pause. I've been thinking about what you said at the coffee shop. Okay? You said you have records of all the money. And I don't know the number. I hesitated. Why? Because I think I've been telling myself it was less than it was. I pulled up my spreadsheet. Including the $3,500, it's $15,840 over 3 years. The silence on the other end was long enough that I checked to see if the call had dropped. I didn't know it was that much, he finally said. Neither did I, until I added it up. I don't know if I can pay that back. I'm not asking you to, I said, and I meant it. That ship had sailed. I was wrong to say it was family money. I closed my eyes, let the words land. Thank you for saying that. I've been doing things the wrong way for a long time. With money, with a lot of things. He cleared his throat. Your mom and I have been seeing someone, a financial counselor. Church referred us. I hadn't known that. That's good, Dad. She told us some hard things, about spending, about what we've been asking from you. I'm glad you're getting help. I'm not asking to restart things. I understand if you can't trust me right now. I wanted you to know that I understand now what I asked of you, and I'm sorry. I felt the apology settle in. Real or performative? I didn't know yet, but it was something. I appreciate that, I said carefully. Can we maybe have dinner sometime? You and me and your mom and Kyle? Not to talk about money, just to try again. I thought about it. Maybe. Let me think about it. Okay, that's fair. After I hung up, I called Simone. He apologized. I told her. Really? Really? Said he was wrong to call it family money. Said they're seeing a financial counselor. How do you feel? Cautiously hopeful. Like, I want to believe it. But I also know how many times I've believed things and been wrong. You don't have to decide anything today, Simone said. You can be hopeful and careful at the same time. Yeah? Zoey. Yeah? Don't go back to sending money, even if he's changed, even if they're struggling. You can have a relationship without being the family bank. I know, I said. That's the part that's non-negotiable. 5 months after cutting off the money pipeline, I finally moved into a new apartment, 2 bedrooms, natural light, a kitchen big enough to actually cook in, a heater that worked. I signed the lease on a Wednesday afternoon, and when I got the keys, I sat in the empty living room for 10 minutes, just breathing. This apartment was mine. Every square foot paid for by money that was never redirected, never claimed as family money, never guilt-tripped out of my hands. I had done what I set out to do 3 years ago, saved enough for a deposit, found a better place, moved up. It just took me longer because of the $15,840, but I'd gotten there. I had dinner with my family 2 weeks later. My mom made her pot roast, the one I'd actually loved growing up. Kyle was there, looking more grown up than I remembered. My dad sat at the head of the table and was different, quieter, more careful. He didn't ask for anything. He didn't mention money. He asked about my new apartment, and when I described the light in the morning, he smiled genuinely. "I'm proud of you, Zoey," he said. Not as a preamble to a request, just as a sentence. It was the first time I could remember him saying that without wanting something. I didn't cry. I just nodded and said, "Thank you, Dad," and passed the bread. After dinner, while Kyle and I were doing dishes, he said quietly, "He's been better. The counselor has been helping." I can tell. He asked me last week if I thought you'd come for Christmas. What did you tell him? I told him I thought you might, if he kept doing the work. I nudged my brother with my shoulder. Good answer. 2 weeks after that dinner, my dad sent me a Venmo request. My heart stopped when I saw the notification. Then I read it. It wasn't a request for money. It was a payment. $200, with a note that said, "A little of what I owe you. Working on the rest. Dad." I stared at the notification for a long time. He was never going to pay back $15,840. We both knew that. I'd accepted it, but $200 meant he was trying. It meant he acknowledged what I'd said was real. It meant the conversation in the coffee shop hadn't been performative. I accepted the payment and wrote back, "Thank you, Dad." Then I put it directly into my savings account. It's been a year now since I changed my direct deposit and closed the money pipeline. My savings account has $8,400 in it. That's more than I've ever had at one time in my adult life. Every dollar is mine. No one has claim over it but me. I live in my 2-bedroom apartment. I have a real couch, a coffee table, a plant that's somehow still alive, and a standing lamp that makes the living room look warm in the evenings. My relationship with my parents is real now, by which I mean it has actual foundation instead of just transaction. My dad and I have dinner once a month. He's been consistent with his financial counselor. He started a side job doing handyman work for neighbors, something he was good at and never took seriously. He seems lighter. He sent me 3 more Venmo payments, small amounts, $50, $75, $100. None of it is going to add up to $15,840, but the gesture is real, and I accept it as such. My mom and I talk on the phone more than before. Without the money tension, we can actually talk. She told me recently that she wishes she'd spoken up sooner, that she knew what was happening wasn't right. "Why didn't you?" I asked. "Because it was easier not to," she said, "and I'm sorry for that." I accepted that apology. Kyle graduated this spring. He got a job offer in Charlotte and moved there last month. Before he left, he took me to lunch. "I've been thinking," he said over burritos, "about what you said about protecting yourself early, before it becomes a pattern." Yeah? I'm setting up a separate account, so my paycheck goes there and not somewhere Dad can see it. Is that bad? That's smart, I said. That's exactly right. He nodded. I love him, but I learned from watching you. I didn't know what to say to that, so I just said, "I'm proud of you, Kyle." He smiled. I learned from the best. Last week, I was going through my receipts folder, the one with all the bank statements and screenshots and voicemails, and I thought about deleting it. I didn't. I moved it to a backup drive instead, not because I need it anymore. My dad has acknowledged what happened. The campaign is over. The pipeline is closed. I kept it because it's proof. Proof that my reality was real, that the $15,840 happened, that the family money speech happened, that the pastor call and the Facebook posts and the pressure campaign all happened. When you've been gaslit your whole life into thinking your perceptions are wrong, receipts are sanity. I'm keeping mine. Here's what I know now that I didn't know a year ago. Love is not a financial obligation that runs in one direction. Helping family is good. Being the family ATM is exploitation. You're the capable one is a compliment. It's also a target. A62. When someone calls you selfish for keeping your own paycheck, they are telling you exactly how they've been benefiting from you. You can love your parents and still refuse to fund their inability to manage money. Receipts are not revenge, they're protection. Document everything. The pipeline isn't family. The people are family. Those are different things. Iris Deers. My name is Zoey. My dad called my paycheck family money. I called his bluff, closed the pipeline, and demanded he treat me like a person instead of a resource. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, and the best thing.